How you doing? This is Black Shy Guy coming at you with another podcast episode. Hopefully your week is starting out great. Listen, I'm underneath my Yoda blanket. I'm feeling really warm and cozy. I fired up my heat. Listen, don't hate. Right? I know a lot of people is gonna say you should have put on your hoodie, you should have put on your jammies, you should have put on your freaking warm ass socks. Listen, don't hate on me, all right? Listen, okay? I like coming into my place warm and cozy after I've been outside in the 45, 30 degree below weather. I like coming into my house nice, warm, and toasty. You feel me? I want to feel like that freaking slice of bread in the toaster oven. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. All right? But hopefully your week is starting out great. And if it didn't start out great, hopefully it gets better. Hopefully it just gets better. Despite the obstacles in life that we face that may be difficult, always understand the fact that it can get better and will get better. You just got to work at it. And as always, before we start this podcast episode, I thank you and I appreciate you for sitting at my table. Listen, I got a lot of interesting conversations towards my last podcast. And I want to say this. And obviously it's towards the two people that was brave enough to message me on Instagram, and I really do appreciate that because they were very mature, and I liked it our back and forth. It was interesting. But if you're looking at a conversation, if you get into a conversation with someone, and the minute you start basing that conversation towards your life experience, then you're not mature enough to have that conversation. You're not. Because you're going to get emotional. You're going to get emotional. Because a generalized conversation is based off the majority. In the last podcast episode, I stated that men do not want a woman with multiple kids. I stated that a woman do not want a man who's unfit, below 6 feet, with an average job. Are there ladies that want that? Absolutely. Are there ladies who are willing to give a man an opportunity who's below 6 feet with an average job and not unfit? Of course, there are ladies that are willing to give that guy an opportunity. And of course, there are men who date girls with kids and are willing to give those ladies an opportunity. A lot of people who know me know that I have dated ladies with kids. Because once I get to know you and I feel that you're a genuine woman, a woman with a good attitude, good values, you just happen to be in a relationship that was destroying you and you got out, then you deserve a good man and a good opportunity to have a good relationship. But I'm not going to base a generalized conversation towards my personal life experience. That's not how a generalized conversation goes. Because you make it personal. And you get immature about it and you get emotional. And then the conversation just goes out of whack because you can't handle it. Because you're basing it off of your emotional, personal life experience. When you look at a conversation that's generalizing a certain situation, then you gotta keep it that way. You can't base that generalized conversation towards your personal life experience. Those are the people that get emotional. Those are the people that can't have a conversation. Those are the people that walk off the table all mouth and pouty and all grouchy because they're not mature enough to have a freaking adult conversation. Because they're going personal. They're going, well, well, I did this and it didn't happen to me, etc., etc. The minute you encounter someone like that, when you're having a conversation, just walk off because you can't have a conversation with terrorists. You can't. It's going to go left. Guarantee. A person who can have a decent conversation, a generalized conversation, are the people who don't turn it towards their life experiences. Those are the people you can have a conversation with. So it is what it is. It is what it is. But shout out to those two individuals that were able to contact me on Instagram, and we kept it a buck. We kept it gully. You know what I mean? And I liked our back and forth. And shout outs to them. But anyway, we have another interesting conversation today. And obviously, it was an interview that Sara Gonzalez had with a certain individual. I won't even say individual. I really believe she's a piece of shit. I really do. I'm sorry. Okay? I really believe she's a piece of shit. And I believe the individual that she was dealing with is an idiot. Despite the fact that he proved himself innocent with the evidence that he provided, he's an idiot. And I'm going to tell you why he's an idiot in a moment. But let's dive in to this podcast episode. Okay, let's dive in because it's a very interesting case. Sara Gonzalez, all right, taking on Trevor Bauer's accuser. All right, and this is a very interesting situation, and this is why the majority of ladies that go through a life experience that is detrimental to their mental health and physical, of course, are not believed because of ladies like this. Ladies like this. And ladies like this is what destroyed the Me Too movement. When the Me Too movement started, it started out for a good reason, but it turned into a disaster because of ladies like this. Okay? What's going on with this situation I'm about to talk about? Take a listen to and follow so you can understand what has transpired with Trevor Bauer's accuser, his situation that happened to him, what happened to his career, and what Jordan got out of all of this, which turned out to be a lie on her part. Let's continue. Sara Gonzalez interviews the accuser.
Yesterday, we discussed the conclusion of former Major League Baseball player Trevor Bauer's lawsuit stemming from an alleged sexual assault and Bauer's recent video in which he released his side of the story with receipts. Joining me now to discuss that is Bauer's accuser herself, Lindsay Hill. Lindsay, I mentioned Bauer's video in which he provided some receipts that
This girl is, I'm going to say, the devil incarnate, okay? This is the devil incarnate. And this is one of the reasons I say, do not, absolutely not take it upon yourself to try to sleep with as many women as possible. When I hear these red pill guys say, you got to sleep with 40, 50 ladies, etc., etc., why? So you can increase your chances to meet a woman like this? To meet a woman like this? You're increasing your chances to meet a woman like this who will destroy your whole entire career. That's why I don't understand when these red pill guys go, sleep with as many women as possible. You need your experience. No. You don't need this type of woman in your life because those are the chances you are taking when you sleep with as much women as possible. I'm not saying not to sleep with as much women as possible. It is what it is. You want to do what makes you happy, then do what makes you happy. But you're increasing your chances to meet a woman like this if you pass on a woman who actually makes you happy, who actually completes you. But you're going to pass on her because, wait a minute, I only slept with 18. I got to sleep with 20, 30 more to complete my my experience. To meet someone like that? Let's continue.
Gonna be honest with you, make you look like a clout chaser, or I know some people are calling you a cleat chaser because admittedly you were chasing after several high-profile, wealthy baseball players. Trevor says everything.
And you see how Sara, I love Gonzalez because Gonzalez, I like her so much because she's not one of these ladies that I'm just gonna believe a woman because she says she went through it. Gonzalez goes with the facts. There are ladies out there who will believe a woman automatically. Well, she says she got raped. I believe her because she's a woman. Or there's ladies out there that will believe a woman that says she got raped just because they don't like the man that they're accusing. Oh, I don't like that guy she's accusing, so I'm going to believe her just because I don't like that guy. So you're going to destroy that guy's career and take this woman's word for it just because you personally don't like the guy. When it turns out in the end, he's innocent, but you believed her just because you don't like him personally. This is what men go through. Let's continue.
Everything was completely consensual. He also released these text messages that came out in court indicating that you had planned the whole thing out. So I want to read some of these texts from you to a friend between the two of you before you met Trevor, this one. Next victim, star pitcher for the Dodgers. Okay. Victim is an interesting choice of words. I'm going to allow you a chance to explain yourself. But
you notice that, right? And Gonzalez said, interesting choice of words. Next victim, a pitcher for the Dodgers. It's already, hey, there's no way she can defend that. There's no way she can defend that. But let's hear her out. Let's see what she says. Because Gonzalez is already calling her out. Shout outs to Gonzalez. She's already calling her out. Next victim, the pitcher of the Dodgers.
After you agreed to meet, you asked your friend what you should steal. Your friend answered his money. He says, another one from you to a friend, I'm going to his house Wednesday. I already have my hooks in. You know how I roll. With a screenshot in which you told him, tryouts don't scare me, Bauer. Pick a day and I am there. Here are some more after you and Trevor met up. Net worth is $51 million, to which your friend responds, bitch, you better secure that bag. Your text, need daddy to choke me out, being an absolute whore to try to get in on his $51 million.
Bong. These are the ladies that you risk the chance of meeting when you're trying to get life experience in sleeping with 40 ladies, listening to these red pill guys. These are the ladies that you risk meeting when your personal goal is to try to sleep with as much women as possible. Because you'll bump into a woman like this. Especially if you're a successful guy with money in the freaking bank. There are women who are good at doing shit like this. And I really like Gonzalez because she's not a believer of all women. Despite the fact that there are ladies who actually go through life situations that destroy them physically and mentally. But ladies like this destroy the validation of those ladies who go through it. And Gonzalez goes towards the facts. She believes the facts. She just doesn't believe the words that come out of ladies' mouth. She needs the facts. And that's why I like her. And that's why she's pushing her to answer for all of these texts that she texted out about Bauer. Gonzalez is grilling her right now. Shit, it feels like the firm right now.
You say this wasn't a setup. How can you expect anyone to believe that?
That's a great question. I really appreciate you having me on to even have this conversation.
Yeah, it is a great question.
Obviously, there's a lot going on around this, so I really appreciate people who are asking questions about it. The first thing I want to say is, I think that Trevor did this intentionally with the text messages and how he framed this video. There's several things in it that are not correct.
You see Gonzalez's face. Gonzalez is like, bitch. Gonzalez is like, bitch, I'm not stupid. The way he's framing it, no, you text it. What are you talking about? You the one who texted. How can he frame something you yourself text? You can't make this shit up.
And I just want to start out by saying, it's so valid for people to question those text messages. But the root of the problem here is that he is presenting this as one conversation, when in reality he had thousands of messages to choose from, took those, made it look sequential, which it was not. There is no combined screenshot of those things going on one after the other. And as I said last night as well, there's no text message that ever exists. Otherwise he would have, put it out there, combining, anything about a setup through rough sex, finances all in one. Those were handpicked, and they were from multiple different conversations all before we met up. And I think that the video in general,
it's already proven that conversation that Bauer did put out was one valid conversation through and through. So that's why Gonzalez is really trying to just breeze through whatever her response is, because Gonzalez knows this deal. It's already proven through court that conversation that took place was valid. It wasn't split up. It wasn't edited. It was valid. Why you think she settled to drop it?
doesn't even talk about what actually happened between us two, which is what would have come out during a jury trial. These were all messages that happened before. And then, of course, the video is so valid as well for people to ask questions about. But I do think that video was entirely misleading. He also references the restraining order hearing, which people also have questions about. He says that he was cleared of any wrongdoing.
The restraining order that was not honored by the judge himself when the judge found out about certain things that she was saying. The judge did not validate the restraining order, did not give her the restraining order, because the judge seen what the fuck was going on. So that's another detail in the trial that people need to take notice of.
Which is actually incorrect. In our civil case, the judge had actually ruled that he had not been cleared of any wrongdoing, and that was a federal court judge.
So I want to get to the domestic violence restraining order hearing as well, but I mean, so you're saying that it's misleading because you're admitting that you did talk about rough sex and wanting rough sex. You did talk about him needing to choke you out. You did talk about stealing his money, but it's misleading because he put them together in the same video as if you had said it in the same conversation when in fact it was separate conversations, correct? That's why it's misleading?
Correct, and as well as not showing, the messages that occurred after.
You see Gonzalez stood to her like, that's why it's misleading? That's why? You said it, but it's misleading because he separated the conversation. That's why it's misleading. Oof. That's an oof in her part.
Where it discusses it strictly in the term of, being a baseball wife or something like that.
Or something like that. Okay. I'm just curious if you know, like, the statistical likelihood of you texting your friend premeditated texts saying you wanted him to choke you out and steal his money, take his money, and him actually choking you out, and those two things not being related.
Exactly. Gonzalez is not stupid, but there are ladies out there that will be that stupid, that will be like, oh my God, I know she texted that, but I really believe that she got raped, etc. There are ladies out there that will still say that he deliberately raped her, when there are premeditated text messages stating that I want him to choke me out, I want him to have rough sex with me so I can steal his millions, so I can bring up a case on him. And there are ladies that still won't take his word. They'll still believe her. But there are smart ladies, fortunately, like Gonzalez, who will put two and two together and be like, you're full of shit. The reason I said Trevor Bauer is an idiot, you're a man with millions. You're a star pitcher for the Los Angeles Dodgers. And a woman, an attractive young woman at that, because she is highly attractive, is telling you, I need you to beat me up while we're having sex. And your dumbass goes, have sex with her, beat her up, not knowing that she has the capabilities to turn that against you. But the fact that you have no self-control whatsoever, you need to have that punani, you need to have it in any way possible, as long as you get it, because she wants it rough. So the only way you could get that punani is to grant her wish to have it rough. You go and do it. Now look at your life now, your career over for the Dodgers. And despite the fact that you were telling the truth, doesn't change the fact that you gave her the opportunity to destroy your career. You're an idiot, a man with millions of dollars, and an outstanding career, a great pitcher. You let a woman who has the capability to destroy your career because she's telling you to physically hurt her during sex, and you're not realizing that, wait a minute, there is a possibility that she can turn that against me. Your dumbass still goes and do it because you were that desperate to bang.
It's a really, really valid question. And like I said, I think you would need to look through each conversation. Those were handpicked. But I can, like I said last night, completely own the fact that those were overly sarcastic, overly inappropriate to some may seem. And it does give off that impression about clout chaser and totally attention seeking behavior. But I just feel that they have, nothing to do with what actually took place. But it does cause a lot of questions as to why I was, seeking Trevor out. But at the end of the day, there was nothing about a setup with violence and all of this stuff and getting financial gain. It was strictly, a 25 or however old I was at the time, girl trying to get attention from those things and phrasing it in a sarcastic way before we met.
Okay, so I've got a couple other questions on that. So you said in court that he sexually assaulted you on 2 different encounters, and you say the first time that you say he choked you unconscious. Clearly, the insinuation is you didn't like it, because now you're calling it an assault. But why did you make the drive back to L.A. to meet back up with him a second time if this man had just assaulted you by your own account?
Again. Proving her that she is a freaking liar. You're going to go back to a man who choked you out, and let's say you didn't want to be choked out unconscious. Let's say you just wanted to be choked out. You didn't want to be choked out unconscious. And the fact that the sex was so intimate, so powerful at that moment, he continued to choke you out, and then he realized that you went unconscious. You didn't like it. You go back, though? You go back? Because that part I do understand. Like, let's say a woman says, I want it rough. I really want it rough. But the man goes overboard because the man doesn't know the limit to how rough you want it. So the sex is so passionate, because I know we all had that moment that the sex is so passionate and we just in that moment. You know what I mean? So he was in that moment. Instead of just choking you, he chokes you and slaps you as well. You didn't want the slap. You just wanted to choke. So it extended past the point of what you wanted, and you ended up going unconscious. But the next day, the next time you have a chance to meet him, you go and you meet him?
I think that's a really good question, how I phrased it and how I
She said, I agree. Did you guys catch that? She said, yeah, I agree. Oh my God. She said, yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't know if you guys caught it.
I think that's a really good question, how I phrased it and how I in the past is.
And she paused. She said, damn. Because it's true. It's a valid question. Like, why did you go back? Like, why did you go back to meet the man who basically choked you out unconscious, which is what you didn't want?
That I was so embarrassed by the first encounter that I felt something, deep in me to go and take the power back and to be better and to be what he wanted in a sense. And so I don't know. There's been a lot of, through all the processes, expert.
And I understand people do some mentally stupid actions after a certain situation. But the way she stated it for the court, that she was scared, she was so scared of her life and all of this and that and the third. For her to so casually go back to the guy, it's unexplainable. Like, how can you explain that in a way to defend yourself towards the fact that you have premeditated text messages? How can you explain that when you combine the two? Doesn't make any sense.
Witness experts on the psychology of what happens when you are assaulted, XYZ. But there was something in me that felt like I needed to make it better in a sense.
Okay. But you texted Trevor before you met him, telling him you liked rough sex. Then you texted him after your first sexual encounter with him, which you now call an assault. And according to court records, you told him after that sexual encounter that you had, quote, never been more turned on in your life. That's not really something that someone says when they were just assaulted.
You see how, and I hope there are smart individuals out there that can put 2 and 2 together. Despite the fact that she went to go meet him after everything, she still proceeds to text message him afterwards stating, I had a great orgasmic experience. No one who has had a bad experience mentally when it comes to sexual encounters does that. They don't do that. And she just said she wanted to take the power back. You don't take the power back and tell the guy that what he did that basically destroyed you mentally is what turned you on. Nobody does that. There's no way you can explain to me that was valid what she did.
I think it's a super valid question. Everything you're asking me.
Can you stop saying it? Yes, everything she's asking you is valid. We just need you to answer it. Because obviously you're just buying yourself time to lie again.
Is a super valid
I
question.
agree. That's why I'm asking him.
Totally. And I think
bam! Exactly. You see Gonzalez is giving her that freaking charismatic look. She's like, bitch, yeah, answer it. Answer it. We really want to hear your response towards what you just did. Gonzalez, not only are you beautiful and intelligent, you're just something else. I don't even know what to say right now. You've really impressed me with this interview. And I don't know. You might be my screensaver for the week. I'm really going to put Gonzalez as my screensaver for the week.
Think that I'm not, that's what expert witnesses are for in court in terms of the psychology behind that in responses to abuse and things like that. But like I said, I was just trying to make myself feel better about myself after what had happened the first time. After the first time I left without any markings on my body, my face was fine. I could go to work. And I thought that the second time would be like the first time minus the things I told him I was not comfortable with.
Yeah, so you mentioned the markings on your body. I want to play a portion of his video in which he plays I would say, interesting video of you in his bed. Watch.
In August of 2021, Lindsay Hill's claim.
This is Jack Bauer right here, by the way, who is an innocent man, but yet an idiot. An idiot. As I stated 10 minutes earlier. On why he's an idiot. If you need to rewind and listen to what I said to why he's an idiot, rewind right now. But man is an idiot, despite him being an innocent man, and I really do feel bad that he lost his career with the Dodgers, which he can go back and literally sue Major League Baseball for what they did to him. He could literally go back and sue, because Major League Baseball didn't go on facts. They won on assumptions and destroyed his career. But he put himself in that situation, which is why I called him an idiot. Let's proceed.
Claims were heard in court, and during those legal proceedings, critical information was deliberately and unlawfully concealed from me and my legal team. Information like this video, which was taken by Lindsay Hill herself the morning after she claimed she was brutally attacked, emotionally traumatized, and
emotionally traumatized and smiling for the camera because she wanted to show everybody she was with the star pitcher of the Dodgers and just had sex with him, rough sex at that. Does this look like a traumatized young girl who just went through a difficult life experience? Does it? Tell yourself, does it look like a young girl who's been traumatized? No, it does not. Let's not be stupid.
Desperate to get away from me. And now we have the metadata, so there can be no dispute. It was taken mere minutes before she left my house on the morning of May 16th, 2021, without my knowledge or consent, of course. In it, you can see her lying in bed next to me while I'm sleeping, smirking at the camera without a care in the world, or any marks on her face. I think it paints a pretty clear picture of what actually happened the evening of May 15th and why the video was originally concealed from us.
Lindsay, I think there are a lot of sexual assault survivors who would say you don't look traumatized there and you don't look beaten. And this is allegedly after you say that he brutally attacked.
And once again, big ups to Gonzalez. Giving a shout out to girls who actually are traumatized and actually do go through situations when it comes to I don't want to say the word, but you know what I mean. She gave a big shout out to those girls, because those ladies who actually go through a real life situation like that, those girls' stories are destroyed by ladies like this who lie. Unbelievable.
attacked you, and you had bruises all over your body, you had bruises all over your face. I don't see any bruises there, and I certainly don't see a woman who's just been traumatized by something horrible.
Again, super valid. I think that I woke up that morning.
Why does she keep saying that? We know it's super valid because it's coming from a very intelligent woman. We know it's super valid. Answer the question and stop buying yourself time to lie again. That's why everything was dropped and you didn't get a dime.
Morning, and the best way to explain that video is I hadn't seen my entire body yet. I had no idea what had happened, considering, I was unconscious for most of it. I had no idea what had happened to my full body.
But if it was that severe, wouldn't you already feel pain?
Exactly.
Wouldn't you already have bruises on your face? I mean, you say that he punched you in the face, but where are the bruises?
Yeah, so that's something that has not, been publicly released, or he won't talk about, but over and over again in this process.
You can publicly release them. You can release them. But you know why you won't release them? Because there is none. There is none. Because you would have released them. The same way you're entitled to release your part of the story right now with Gonzalez. You could have easily had the pictures with you and say, look at the pictures of me bruised. And even if you had pictures of you bruised, that's what you wanted. That's what you requested. And it was delivered. And you took the opportunity to turn it to your advantage to get his millions. Let's not get it twisted.
Process. We have handed him pictures that were taken between 20 and 30 minutes right after that video was taken, of the bruising starting to develop, of the scratching, and it has been time and time again.
Oh! So the bruises developed after the sexual encounter, and that's when you said, oh, wait a minute. I got bruises now, so you know what? I'm going to take him to court because I wanted the rough sex, but I didn't know I was going to get bruised. I didn't know that. Rough sex ends up with you getting bruised most of the time. I mean, what you thought you wasn't going to get a bruise anywhere during rough sex? That's why it's called rough sex. Let's proceed.
And verified through metadata. It was a matter of being in the correct lighting, the spacing to take the right thing. And another difference is, iPhone camera versus a Snapchat recording and things like that. So there is solid bulletproof evidence of those bruising marks, scratches, things that were provided to their team from day one.
So it was a very brutal attack in which you were very bruised, but we couldn't see the bruises because of the lighting. I want to move on here. So Trevor mentioned in his clip that you withheld evidence, more evidence, and later posted on Twitter after being asked if your lawyers were aware that you withheld evidence. He said, it appears her lawyers had the evidence the entire time. Speaking specifically about the video of her laying in bed next to me with no marks on her face.
Exactly. I understand I interrupted the conversation right here, but I just want to add something. They had evidence and they chose not to release it because it will destroy her narrative. That's why her team did not want to release those evidences, because they knew it would destroy her narrative. It would destroy it. Notice that the team, her lawyer team, didn't receive a penny from this case. Despite it being dismissed, they didn't receive a penny. Which I know for a fact, they're like, damn, we wasted our time with this.
Morning after she claims I brutally attacked her, an email containing that video was sent to her attorney before the domestic violence restraining order hearing in 2021, and it was never turned over to us. Perhaps that's why he insisted on adding his name to the released parties section in the settlement agreement. There was also a 12-day span of texts between Lindsay and two of her closest friends immediately following the incident that were deleted. We asked for them in discovery for the restraining order hearing, and they were not turned over.
Boom. Why didn't she want to turn over those text messages? Why? You see how even conniving, the more and more things are released, that's making her look like such a joke? And believe it or not, there are ladies still out there believing her. I'm serious. I'm not joking. There are ladies out there that will still believe her.
Why did your lawyers withhold what seems to be very exculpatory evidence for Trevor?
You know what? That's something my lawyers would have to answer, and that's his issue with them. Like I said, there was an email. I provided absolutely everything I had. And
Sure you have. Sure
a
you
key
have.
fact about this that no one does know about is that that video was actually the first thing that I handed over to Pasadena police, and it's on body cam footage. So I did everything to hand over all of that stuff. It was my first time in a legal proceeding, and I did what I was told when I was told to do it.
Yeah, you mentioned that you went to the police. Why wasn't he arrested, do you think? Or, no charges were brought on him. Why do you think that is?
That only the Pasadena Police Department would know that. What I do know is that I handed over my phone and computer because I had nothing to hide, and I interviewed with them. I did everything they told me. We have a 28-minute pretext call that's recorded that's never been public. That really explains a lot. And what I do know is that Trevor refused to talk to the police, refused to give him their phones. So I'm not really one to speak on that. I just had to let it play out.
Yeah, I mean, if I was accused by a sexual partner who had given consent to have sex with, that I was now being accused of sexual assault, I probably wouldn't talk to the police at that time either.
Exactly. If the police came to arrest you, there's no way you should provide anything to them at that point in time. You wait for your lawyers. You wait for your lawyers. That is preached about constantly. What is she talking about? He wasn't willing to give up his phone or whatever electronic device to the police after the police approached him about the situation. Of course he's not. That's why he has lawyers. You wait for your lawyers. That's why people who are encountered with the law, the minute they start talking, they incriminate themselves. You should shut up and wait for your lawyers. It's common sense.
Why didn't you turn over the text with you and your closest friends as this 12-day span? Why didn't you turn those over?
They really focus on that a lot. And like I said, I did everything in my power. I sat up there and I testified and said, I don't have access to this on this backup. Can you please get them from Pasadena police? I would have given everything, like I said, from day one. And so I was really an advocate for getting all those texts because I knew that there was nothing in there that would,
And the police wouldn't release them to you?
I'm not sure. I was the one, like I said, who said in court, please get them from the Pasadena police because
That doesn't make sense. Your lawyers or you yourself couldn't get those text messages from the police because I'm sure the police would not hold them. The police will not tell you, no, we're not giving you the text messages that can possibly increase your chances to incriminate the guy who just sexually assaulted you.
do not have access to them.
But if the Pasadena police can give it to them, they could give it to you as well, no?
I don't know. I mean, I asked my
know.
lawyers. I don't know if Trevor's team had done that as well. I just did. I was so overwhelmed at that time, but I was more than willing to cooperate with absolutely everything.
So you said last night in your interview with fellow Blaze TV host Alex Stein that you said fully prepared to take this case to trial. But Trevor says that your attorneys approached him multiple times trying to settle after all of this incriminating evidence for you was released. Is he lying?
I actually have no idea how the settlement came about. That would be, I don't think people really understand.
She knows nothing, does she? She knows nothing. Nothing. And I gotta admit, she's playing it smart because she's like, I'm not gonna say anything. If I need to say anything more, talk to my lawyer. But obviously, she can't even answer the common sense questions, which can increase the chances to turn the public opinions her way. She can't even do that. I mean, there's a reason why everything was dropped.
And I'm pretty far removed from the process of lawyer versus lawyer.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, surely you give your consent as to whether or not you want to settle.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually is a really...
You said, oh, the jig is up. You know what? Let's settle. Settled and didn't get a dime. You know why she didn't get a dime? Because they found out she was lying. And her lawyers found out that if we continue this, we're going to end up broke because we're not getting a penny off of this case. At all. Period.
Really big bummer that this case is not going to trial because all of the evidence that has not been public, including the other accusers and all of those things.
I don't want to talk about the other accusers because I'm here to focus on you.
Exactly.
If they want to talk, I'd love to talk to them, but this is a separate issue here. You agreed to the settlement, but now you're saying it's a bummer it's not going to court. I don't understand how those two things jive.
How does that correlate? How does that correlate? It's a bummer it's not going to court. Then why did you agree to the settlement? Why did you agree to it? We're going to hear her response right now, but before we get to that, why did she agree to it? It's a bummer it's not going to court. It's a bummer it's not going to court. Why did she agree to the settlement then? This guy sexually assaulted you. You want justice. Why did you agree to the settlement? It's ladies like this that destroy the narrative of true survivors of sexual assault. She should be incarcerated.
I think that I really had to take into consideration my mental health. This litigation's never ending.
And your mental health won't take a dive, realizing that your sexual assault accuser is going to go free. Not accuser, the one who sexually assaulted you is going to go free. That's not going to make your mental health take a dive. Oh, my mental health.
And I think the bigger question, and Alex said it last night, if he really wanted, to clear his name or, press charges for fraud, which he did not do with me, he did with the other woman. I think the bigger question is, why did Trevor settle? And why doesn't?
Because he didn't lose no money to you. Yes, he lost money in lawyer fees. To me, he should have took you down for that, because I would have took everything. I would have made your life miserable. But the fact that Trevor said, you know what? I spent a lot of money paying for lawyers, etc. If I can settle and not pay anything further, then I'm good. I'm good as long as she's out of my life. That's why he settled. He was paying way more money than she was, than you were. He was paying way more money. So that's why he settled. Because why am I going to continue paying millions in lawyers' fees when you're not paying anything, because the lawyers that are with you are counting on the money that they're going to get after the settlement when they accuse him of actually sexually assaulting you. But now that they know they're not going to get their money, they're basically working for you for free. So that's why the lawyers also was like, we got to end this case now and settle because we're not getting a dime. Does she know this? I don't think so.
And he want to take this all the way. And it's because of the chance of cross-examination and all the evidence for my case.
I mean, I think that that's an assumption that you're making, right? I would say maybe Trevor wanted to settle because you're talking about your mental health. Couldn't it be that he was tired of going through it as well, especially if his case is to be made that he's being falsely accused of something he didn't do? You both consented to rough sex. You had a safe word, and you didn't use it. And you don't want your name to be tarnished for all this time, and you just want it to go away. I think that it's terrible that you would say he didn't want to settle because he didn't want all of this to come out when you yourself also settled. I don't think that that's a fair statement at all.
You see how intelligent a woman like Gonzalez is? She put two and two together immediately. And look at her face. Look at I love it. I love when an intelligent woman knocks down a false narrative from another woman who's who's lying about her assault. You don't see this all the time. You don't. And Gonzalez is not falling for it. She's definitely gonna be my screensaver for the month of October. Yes, sir.
So my last question, as part of the settlement, you disclosed that you received $300,000 from an insurance company. How did you con an insurance company into paying you any money? And does that money just go to your lawyers or does any of it go to you?
So she did get money. She did get $300,000 off the settlement. And I would love to know who actually paid her that money. And obviously, a lot of it went to her lawyers. So she probably got $50,000 probably, because you damn better, you know damn well her lawyers took more than half of that money. They took more. I'm telling you, she probably left with 75,000, which in her case, in her situation, was more money than she had before. So she kind of won out even after the settlement. You see what I'm saying? Oh, like freaking.
Yeah, I wish I could speak more into that, but I am prohibited from talking about that part. So I wish I could go more into detail. But I don't believe I would agree with you on the word con at all. So,
Okay.
So I'll go into that more.
Yeah, I mean, Lindsay, I don't like it when men are falsely accused of doing things, and they have their livelihoods taken from them, and it's done by someone who is, speaking out of both sides of their mouth, saying, well, I wish that this had gone to court, because if it did, boy, let me tell you all the evidence that you could be seeing, but now you can't, and also then settled the case. I don't find that to be credible. I will leave you with this. I want you to learn your lesson on pursuing public figures, and I would ask that you stop sliding into my friend Alex Stein's DMs. Thank you very much, Lindsay.
I really respect you, and that's nice to end that way. I really do respect what you have to say, and I hope there's a day that you can see the real truth of the situation.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Wow! What a freaking ending! She called her out. Oh my, I didn't even realize. Gonzalez is a savage. She's a savage. So listen, she just experienced a sexual assault. And already sliding in the DMs of another celebrity. Another, I won't say a high celebrity such as a Los Angeles star pitcher, but a successful man nonetheless. Would a woman who just experienced a sexual assault already be sliding in the DMs of another individual already? That's why Gonzalez called her out. She's like, you're a sexual assault victim. Yeah, but you're already sliding in the DMs of my friend. And that's why Lindsay was like, oh, shit. I love it. Let me know what you think. This is Black Shy Guy. As always, I thank you for sitting at my table. Make sure you hit the follow button. Also subscribe. Check out my podcast, which is located on your podcast stations, specifically mostly on Spotify. Let me know what you think about this situation. I want to see your comments. As always, thank you for sitting at my table. I'm out of here. Peace.
Arch criminal who must be put away. Another innocent victim of suicidal maniac.